mentioned we had this terrible shooting in Georgia.
Right.
Our prayers are with our friends in Georgia. And I've been doing town halls and interviews in public with you for all these years since you got into the political arena. And I told this audience, never before have restrictions been so tight, obviously after the assassination attempt as well. And Director Wray said the threat level has never been this bad. He said it 5 consecutive times before Congress. What is going on?
Well, it's a sick and angry world for a lot of reasons. And we're going to make it better. We're going to heal our world. We're going to get rid of all these wars that are starting all over the place because of incompetent American leadership. And we're going to make it better. You know, Viktor Orban made a statement. They said, bring Trump back and we won't have any problems. We were very strong about that. So we're going to hopefully do very well. We have an election coming up, and actually, you know, they keep saying 60, but it starts in Delaware and North Carolina and other places a lot sooner than that. So we're going to be, I think we're going to be very well set up to do a great job. And do we love Pennsylvania? Do we love it?
I will never get over the Viktor Orban mention. Like, dude, it's such a funny thing to say. It's his version of like, we did NATO. Like, I know that like the Republican Party through its like media apparatus has done a shit ton to hype up Viktor Orban. Right? Like, he's a known entity. He's not like some rando. But even then, incredibly funny to just be like there is no, like, the equivalent would be, like I said, Joe Biden talking about like fucking the leadership of Estonia. Like, who gives a fuck about Viktor Orban, man? You are benefiting him more than you are benefiting your campaign every time you fucking mention him. Viktor Orban said I'm great.
Let me ask you. Mr. President, let me ask you this. Between thank you. This is a very tough interview. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most. So we have all of this. Now, let me talk about, in 6 days, you will have probably your only opportunity to debate Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Chatter. Shut the fuck up. I already ran the ad break. Don't come in here with this bullshit.
If I vote instead of George Stephanopoulos' network that I get to moderate the debate. Just saying. Okay. But you know,
I have
ABC
to say, though,
is not.
John, ABC is the worst network in terms of fairness. They had a poll where I was 17 points down a couple of days prior to the election. I was 17 points down in Wisconsin. And they do that so people don't vote because, you know, hey, I love Trump, but he's 17 points down. I'm not going to go out and vote. I was 17 points down and I won. And I called the best pollster. I said, why wouldn't they say 5 or 4 or 3? Because at 3, you go and vote. At 17, your people say, I want to vote, but, you know, I'm busy. I have other things to do. Let's go see a movie and we'll watch the results later. They are the most dishonest network, the meanest, the nastiest, but that was what I was presented with. I was presented with ABC, George Slopadopoulos, you know who he is. And he's a nasty guy. And yet, he's a nasty guy I've had him up to here, but let me tell you, he's a very, very bad.
Dude, the Barbussies are quaking right now. I'm sorry. He's got every Deborah in the building so goddamn wet. I just heard them. They're fucking going feral. Look.
Yet, he's a nasty guy. I've had him up to here, but let me tell you, he's a.
I love you, Mr. President. I want you to fucking. I want you to carve out my Barbussie. Marry me, Mr. President. Wow!
Very, very bad kind of a guy. But I watched his interview of Joe Biden. It was like the softest interview I've ever seen. It was softer than the CNN interview of Kamala. So, but they're very nasty. And I think a lot of people are going to be watching to see how nasty they are, how unfair they are. I agreed to do it because they wouldn't do any other network. The other thing is, her best friend is the head of the network. Her husband's best friend is married to the head of the network. And they're going to get the questions. I've already heard they're going to get the questions in advance. They even have Donna Brazil. Remember Donna Brazil? She gave Donna Brazil. She's the real beauty. Donna Brazil. She gave Hillary Clinton the questions. You remember that? And she works for ABC, and she's at the round table talking about the debate. So we're going to watch very closely, but you're not allowed to do it. We even have a clause in the contract. You can't give them the questions, but I'm not sure it's going to help her that much, though. I think you might give her the questions and give her the answers with the questions. I'm not sure it's going to help her.
I don't know. All right, now, so unlike Kamala Harris, our time is actually up. However, we're going to let Dave McCormick ask the first question, and we're going to air that not tonight, but tomorrow night.
He always does this, you know.
I do.
Our time's up, but you know what? Let's make two.
Fighting inflation is one of our.
Donald Trump, Kamala Harris has no idea what she's doing and will cause a depression. These sitcom ass laughs, bro. What am I hearing? Dog, what you are hearing is like real American voters. Okay. Those are actual people who are going to go out and vote. What you're hearing are the American fascists. Okay. The fucking suburban warriors. The people who are ride or die, deeply invested in the MAGA cause. YouTube comments. I mean, those are ironically the people who write the YouTube comments. Let us become unburdened by what's been by voting for Trump. Trump fans. Janet Johnson. Sorry, Harris not getting my vote. Can't afford your tax plans. Like, dude, there is 0% chance that you are going to be taxed a single fucking penny more. You are a random username on YouTube. It's got to be a bot.
Our administration's top economic priorities.
Was it wrong to consider inflation transitory? I mean, these price spikes seem like they're going to be with us for a while.
We have to address the fact that we got to deal with the fact that folks are paying for gas, paying for groceries, and need solutions to it.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
And it's rough. Groceries, the cost of groceries has gone up. The cost of gas has gone up.
Bro, I hate this shit because it's like the fracking shit is the same as like coal miners, but we just moved on to fracking instead. like in key states, there's like 20,000 jobs that actually pertain to fracking, but like a million people minimum who care about it. Like if it goes away, they'll die.
And as this is all happening in the context of 2 years of a pandemic, it's one of the highest priorities actually for the president and for me.
That is called Bidenomics. That is called Bidenomics, and we are very proud of Bidenomics.
All right, we continue she's very proud of Bidenomics. In Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, that was Kamala Harris touting her pretty radical beliefs on the economy. In her own words, according to Kamala, her values have not changed. We don't know where she stands because she's only done an interview for 16 minutes and 29 seconds spoken. So on the issue of the economy, how many of you in this room, and you can all close your eyes so you're not looking at your neighbor, have struggled economically in the last number of years? Wow. Wow.
It's actually not that bad because, you know, conservatives for the most part are wealthier than Democrats on average. So, you know, I love that they're not even lying.
And when I started my adult life, I struggled to pay my rent. You know my jobs. I've listed them 100 times, working in the service industry and bartending and cooking and washing dishes and construction. Not McDonald's. That was a lie. And
By the way, she didn't work at McDonald's, right?
She did not. Well, there's no evidence of it.
Did she
so
work
far.
at McDonald's? Because
so far, no evidence.
I don't think so, based on what I saw.
Here's my question. She wants to raise corporate taxes. She wants to raise small business taxes, capital gain taxes, estate taxes, the international corporate minimum tax, to the point where America won't be competitive anymore. And your tax cuts are about to.
There's nothing funnier than having a room full of fucking hogs, some of which unironically are broke, celebrate a fucking billionaire whose first job was being the son of a multimillionaire real estate developer, go, oh my God. Oh, hell yeah, brother, you're right. She's fucking fake. She's a phony. It's like, bro, listen. She was a cop, not the best job, okay? Not a big fan. But the idea that like you are closer to Donald Trump in terms of like your lived experience, your class interest than Kamala Harris is so fucking stupid. Oh my God.
To expire in 2025.
Yeah.
What does this mean for the economy? What does it mean for everybody here struggling?
So I gave you the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. If you let the Trump tax cuts expire, which she wants to do, she wants to terminate them. If you do that, you will suffer the biggest tax increase in history. There's never been a tax increase like it.
Wait, dog, you did that. No, that's his tax cuts that are slated to expire. Dog, oh my God. You at the time thought you would be a two-term president. You were wrong. And you literally wrote the tax proposal in a way that all of those people in that room would actually get tax hikes by 2025, except for the 1%. The top tax bracket and the corporate tax rate is permanent. Every other tax rate beyond it is not. It is slated to fucking sunset. Problem is, he wrote it like that. God, I fucking hate how stupid Americans are. I get really mad about the Democrats in general because like they're so fucking close in their policies, in the hurt that they contribute to the Republican Party. But goddamn, the moment that I see a fucking room full of hogs, I literally turn into a JD Pond for permanent first world genocider, dude. Like nothing immediately snaps me out of like wanting to take care of our fellow man by just like hearing a bunch of cackling fucking hyenas in a goddamn room advocate against their best interest, like their immediate best interest. It makes me so fucking mad, dude. Like, hey, Hasan, have you tried not complaining? Good one, dude. You fucking did it. Good one. I'm a political commentator, dude. This is what I'm doing, okay? I'm serious. Like, it just, all of the complaints does not equal commentary. What? Anytime someone says something, anytime someone in the chat says the dumbest thing you've ever heard, there is going to be a dumber bitch that goes, exactly. That guy is right. No matter what. Anyway. So, very, very frustrating stuff to see like a bunch of modern American fascists just sitting around in a room and being like, hell yeah, Mr. President, I don't want my taxes to be increases. Like, it did. Okay, it did. My first chat, he calls me out, typical cringe. Yeah, well, don't say something cringe then, the good man Jack. Fuck you mean?
On top of which, she wants to add a lot of tax. This country will end up, and I've said this a lot, and I mean it. This country will end up in a depression if she becomes president, like 1929. This will be a 1929 depression. She has no idea what the hell she's doing.
What if unrealized capital gains taxes were implemented? What would
she
that
wants
do?
to do that. This is where you have something, you don't even know what the value is. I tell you what, if that's going to happen, go out and open an appraisal company because you're going to make a fortune. That's about the only group that's going to make it, and accountants. It is the craziest idea. And remember this, very rich people and big international corporations, they don't have to stay in the United States. And they will be forced to leave for other countries. They can't afford to do a thing like that. They may have great wealth and no cash, and they're going to have to pay cash. Where are they going to get the cash? If they do that, the unrealized capital gain, it's been talked about for a few years by ultra-left Marxists only. Like her father's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist teacher of economics. Can you believe this? But if that happened, this country, and I think forgetting about that particular, she's got a lot of things that are just as bad. If she gets in, I think we will have a depression. 1929 style depression. That's what I think will happen to our country. Already they've set us on a path.
What about price gauging, as she calls it, or gouging?
Well, she called it gauging.
And what if they implement that and then price controls?
Yeah.
That's been tried in
many times.
The former Soviet Union, Venezuela, even in this country in the 70s. It was a disaster.
Yeah. Every time it's been tried, no matter over hundreds of years, not just over hundreds of years, price controls, you end up with no product, you end up with massive inflation, and you end up with the destruction of a country.
How does this impact? How do high interest rates impact? How does inflation?
Communist Richard Milhouse Nixon, just so you remember. Okay. You need to remember something. Did you see the shooter's mugshot? No. You need to remember something. This motherfucker said this. And what's really funny about it is currently polling at 83%.
Can impact everybody that's here.
Well, they can't buy a home. They can't do anything. Your business is stopped up. You can't borrow money. And by the way, I had interest rates at 2%. Now they're 10%, but you can't get the money. You can't get the money. There's no money available.
Like, dude, what are you saying, brother? I mean, like, half of these fucking people are just clapping for no fucking reason, okay? Oh my God, the benefits of the interest rates. Like, I mean, I guess every American is in debt, so I guess interest rates do factor into their lives. It doesn't necessarily mean anything in terms of like how much more significant it will be for corporations in general. But like, how do you respond to the claims that price control doesn't work? I don't know. I mean, just say it does. It's not even price control. We already have price control. I hate this conversation. The United States of America has price control, okay? Anybody that says it doesn't does not know how agribusiness works. Oh. We literally have price control in the form of subsidies, and it still doesn't fucking matter. Like, they still farm it out regardless.
So 10% is right. You know, if you can't get the money, 10% is not the right number. It's got to be much more than that. You can't borrow money to buy a house now.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
No.
We did a good campaign, but the next time we had something special. We could talk about what we did, but we never could imagine we'd have borders where 20 million people have poured into our country. Many criminals from all over the world are coming into our country. They're coming from jails, from not just South America.
I understand why corporations can't leave the U.S., but why can't super wealthy individuals with their money? I don't know if you know this, but we're the goddamn United States of America. You do realize there's a shit ton of things that the American government could do that just refuses to do it outright. Okay? And I'm not talking about like the tax havens that already exist within the United States of America. I'm talking like, oh, I'm sorry. Are you taking your money away? Are you taking your assets away, dude? They saying on X that Al Jazeera was paying you on the low. Next time, watch out before you come for the beanie club. Al Jazeera was paying me on the low. I fucking wish, dude. I freaking wish, dog. What the fuck? I don't know if these guys understand this or not, but no, I'm not being paid by Al Jazeera. I wish I was. And I would stand by that fucking decision regardless, because they do phenomenal fucking work in terms of covering the genocide in Gaza. Anyway, let's get back to it.
From all over the world. They're coming in at levels that no.
He's joking. No, I know. I did work for a company that turned into Al Jazeera. I mean, Al Gore literally sold current media to Al Jazeera, like the TV channel. And a lot of the employees, many of which were my coworkers, then ended up working for Al Jazeera Plus and AJ America. It's also a very good company in general. I'm a straight up fan.
Nobody's ever seen. They're coming.
Just don't ask him about, Qatar related politics.
From prisons. They're allowing prisoners to come out of all countries. They had almost 180 countries represented over the last number of months. 180. Most people don't.
Anyway, we were talking about, by the way, that was Connor. He was joking. But the thing that I was going to talk about is like, we are the American government. Okay. We are the American government. The reality of the matter is there are many different ways that you can force motherfuckers to pay their taxes. Okay? Strip them of their assets, seize it, arrest them for tax evasion. I don't know. Stop trying to get me to vote for Kamala. Definitely a top 10 use of the without evidence crutch. Former President Donald Trump, in a speech Thursday to Jewish Republicans, repeatedly denigrated Jewish Americans who vote for Democrats and warned without evidence that Israel will no longer exist if Vice President Kamala Harris becomes president. Oh, one can only wish, dude. Kamala Harris will dismantle the Zionist entity piece by piece. You can say bye-bye to the apartheid. That's what they're calling it, folks. I've learned a lot. Couldn't the government just say we're going to sanction you if you try to evade your taxes and engage in capital flight? Yes. You said you would get a tour bus to door knock for Harris, right? I did say that, except Kamala Harris did not say that. If she did, I would.
I don't know that you have that many countries. They're emptying out their prisons and jails. They're emptying out their mental institutions and insane asylums. They're emptying out the sickest people, and they're emptying all into the United States. And you said it better than anybody. More terrorists have come into the United States in the last 3 years than I think probably 50 years. There's never been anything like it. These people are so bad. They're so dangerous. What they've done to our country is they're destroying our country, and we can't let this happen. If they won, you'd have not 20 million, you'll have 100 million people. You won't have Social Security. You won't have Medicare. You won't have anything already. If you take a look at the numbers, they're filling up and loading up Social Security, Medicare with illegal immigrants that have come into our country, many of them from jails and many of them from very bad places. And we're not going to destroy our country, Sean.
I'm going to play Kamala Harris and the comments that she has made about the border, because I think this is important. I want to play her in her own words about this. You're right. We have people, almost 11 million plus. We don't know how many gotaways there are. We have hundreds of known terrorists that have entered the country. We don't know what countries they've come from. We're allowing people in. They've come in from Iran, Syria, Egypt, Afghanistan, China, tens and tens of thousands, Russia, Venezuela. I don't think they're coming here because they want a better life, as maybe some other people are. And we know nothing about them. We haven't vetted them. I scroll the names often on this show of people that have been murdered, people that have been raped, people victims of violent crime. And this is all happening by unvetted Harris Biden illegal immigrants. What is well, I can play your tape. I'll play that maybe after your answer, but what is your reaction to you've spoken to some of the families of loved ones.
I said at the beginning, I said, I heard they were going to have open borders. They want open borders. She wants open borders. Now she's all of a sudden saying, oh, I think we'll close the borders. She was the border czar, whether you like it or not. But even if you don't want to use that term, she was in charge of the border. It's the worst border in the history of the world, not just here. There's never been a country that allowed 21 million people to come in over a 3-year period. There's never been. And 21 million people, many of whom are from prisons, many of whom are murderers and drug dealers and child traffickers. And by the way, women traffickers. You know, women trafficking is the biggest, and they're traffickers in women. And they're coming in now, and they're putting them in our Social Security accounts, and they're putting them in our Medicare. And just one thing, if you take a look over the last week, I said this was going to happen, and it's happening. because these people are tougher than our criminals. Our criminals are nice people by comparison. That's the only good thing. We're showing how nice our criminals are.
What the fuck?
They came from 22 people recently came from the Congo in Africa. Where do you come from? Prison. What did you do?
It's showing how nice our prisoners are. It's showing how nice our criminals are. It's such a funny, dude. What are you saying, dude? Like he's dude, he literally is just like two things. One, also Jason from Vancouver, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Two things. One, like I do legitimately now believe firmly that when he says asylum seekers, I think he means like insane asylum. And two, I also think he meant like when he talked about like black jobs, he was being a racist. He was like talking about crime. He's like, they're coming to steal the black jobs, which I believe are crimes, criminal jobs. They're stealing jobs from our domestic criminals. Okay. I think that's what he's talking about. Straight up.
We refuse to say, we're letting everybody in. We're letting everybody in. Take a look at Aurora in Colorado, where Venezuelans are taking over the whole town. They're taking over buildings, the whole town. And the sheriff, who can blame them? I mean, they have AK-47s. You saw it the other day. They're knocking down doors and occupying apartments of people. The people are petrified. And it's getting...
By the way, as I called it yesterday or 2 days ago, when I actually covered the Aurora situation, when I talked about the misinformation, and I was right. That YouTube video, it's an incredibly viral story. An incredibly viral story. 84,000 views. Ain't nobody wants to hear the truth. Okay? Remember when I told you like it's barely going to crack 100K? That's it. That's it. Nobody wants to hear what the correct situation is. They just want a narrative that corresponds to their biases. So the Venezuelan gangs taking over Colorado apartment buildings. Story appears to have been fabricated by a slumlord trying to wiggle out of a building court with the help of a crisis PR agency specializing in cancel culture. Can't make this stuff up. Yeah, I mean, we covered this, yes. I covered this exact story that Rebecca Burns is posting from Westward. Four linked to Venezuelan gang arrested at Arapahoe County apartment. I don't know if you know this, but 0 people said there are no gang members. Okay? Like, no one. But he got a point. Wouldn't you agree that there's a spike in crime after mass immigration? Those two have to be connected. No, you fucking idiot. Crime is lower than it has been historically. You fucking dumbass. Shut the fuck up. There's a spike in mass immigration and crime is lower than it's ever been. Fuck! Oh! My grandma asked about the Venezuela story the other day. I was able to sift through all the misinfo she heard because of your coverage. Yep. That's why I do what I do. Can you chill out? No, man, I can't. Because it's like dealing with fucking flat earthers, dude. Okay? It's like dealing with flat earthers every single goddamn day. 8 hours a fucking day.
getting worse and worse. You look at New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and now you look at all over the place. You take a look at Iowa, Idaho, places that never.
Colorado law firm reports Venezuelan gang has a stranglehold on apartments. Takeover began in 2023. It's weird because the fucking criminal prosecution from the municipality came in 2020. So I guess the criminal takeover came after. The court process extends all the way back to 2020, though. So are the Venezuelan migrants fucking time travelers? Is that what they did? Do they have a time traveling gun? Fuck.
Never had the problem. They're pouring in 21 million people. That's bigger than New York. And we have to stop it. And we have to do the largest deportation in the history of.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here. Now, you just.
It's crazy because it's just completely made up. The crime narrative being tacked on to migrants is a complete fabrication. Complete fucking fabrication. And when there's no actual counter narrative that literally explains the truth, you have a whole bunch of dudes cackling for mass deportation and concentration camps. And the Democrats are like, we'll just do concentration camp light.
Heard Kamala Harris, our country's failed borders are talking about.
Oh my God. Okay.